Hello everyone, it's Julie from sproutsandstems.com here, and today's video is going to be about 3 houseplant mistakes to avoid and what to do instead. So before I get into that, please take 2 seconds to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any new planty content from me. And be sure to check out the links in the video description for my Patreon and YouTube membership for exclusive content and more perks. Also in the description is always links to anything I mention in my videos, plants, supplies, whatever. You'll always find it down in the description. And now I'll get into the video. Mistake numero uno is watering on a set schedule. If you've been on my channel for a while, I talk about this somewhat frequently, pretty frequently, that you should never water on a set schedule. It is something that we all like to do. We all like to have. Every Sunday, I water all my plants. We all have that instinct, but instead of watering every Sunday, we should just be checking if plants need to be watered every Sunday. That's something that we can do on a set schedule, but we don't actually want to water our plants on a schedule before feeling the soil first. This is me feeling the soil. Watering on a set schedule leads to overwatering because different plants have different needs. Even the same exact plants, like if you have 2 of the same exact plants, but in different areas of your home, if one is getting more light and one is getting less light, or one is under a vent that keeps blowing air on it, drying out the soil, and one isn't, even those 2 same exact plants are going to have different watering requirements. So instead of watering on a set schedule, you want to be sure to always check the soil moisture before watering, then water according to your plant's needs after that. So if your plant likes to totally dry out, but it's still wet, then obviously don't water it yet. If your plant wants to only dry out a little bit, so you feel it and it's still a little bit wet, then you can water a little more. Or if you feel it and it's still soaking wet with water, then it probably doesn't need any more water. So mistake number 2 is automatically assuming that your plant is dying when it stops growing, giving up and assuming your plant is a goner just because maybe its growth is a little bit stunted and you haven't noticed it growing in a while. While plants do have lifespans to a certain extent, no plant is going to live for all of eternity. Usually your plant is not dying. There's a reason, there's a cause that you can pinpoint and that you can fix. For example, nutrient deficiency. If your plant has been in the same soil for years and if you don't really fertilize it, the nutrients from that soil are all gone and it's not getting any extra nutrients from anywhere else. So change out the soil, fertilize it, give it a little boost. Could be lack of adequate light. Plants grow slowly in low light. That just is the case for the majority of your common houseplants out there. Even snake plants that like low light, which isn't true, they just tolerate it better than other plants, they will grow a lot faster in bright light. If you have a plant that really likes bright and direct light, such as a pothos, for example, and you put it in low light, it might literally not do anything. It might grow like 1 new leaf a month or something, and you might not even notice it. It could be an issue of light, could be an issue of nutrients. It can also be root bound, which is a lot of times the cause. If your plant just completely and totally runs out of room and there's nowhere else for the roots to grow, then your plant's not going to grow. So definitely check to see if your plant is root bound as well by flipping over the pot, seeing if roots are coming out of the drainage holes, or just slipping the root ball out of the pot and seeing if it's root bound. If there is a ton of roots that are filling up the pot and not a lot of actual potting mix left. So usually if your plant isn't growing, there is a cause. Don't give up. Don't get rid of your plant. It can usually be fixed. And the final mistake, mistake number 3, we always talk about overwatering, but underwatering is another common mistake. Now, it is a lot easier to kill a plant from overwatering, but underwatering still is one of the highest causes of plant death, unfortunately. A lot of the times we just forget, and it is what it is. It's okay. Just correct it and try to be better. Sometimes we don't understand our plant's needs. Sometimes we think we're giving the plant enough water, but we're just not. I know there's the ice cube method that is pretty, I guess these days I would say controversial. It's a lot more effective to just actually water your plant and not use a couple of ice cubes. If you put an ice cube or two onto the surface of the soil, that's going to be 1 or 2 tablespoons to water your plant. That's not enough water. And so when you water your plant, you just want to make sure that you are watering the surface evenly. You want to make sure you get all parts of the root system, so water the entire surface. And you want to make sure to water your plant thoroughly. If your plant is totally dry, then you need a nice, thorough saturation session, especially if your plant if the soil has become so dry that it's now hydrophobic, which is when we really, really forget to water a plant and then it becomes like rock hard. Then you're going to have to really, really soak your plant. Sometimes even for a few minutes, you might have to let the water run over the soil until it's come back to a more normal consistency. So we want to make sure we're watering our plants evenly, thoroughly, according to their needs. Aside from that, just try not to forget, which I'm guilty of, or honestly, I'm lazy sometimes. It happens. Just try your best. So that is 3 houseplant mistakes to avoid and what to do instead. Things happen. It's not always our fault. It's usually not our fault because they're mistakes and we don't know. So all we can do is learn from our experiences and try to do better. So I hope you found this video helpful for that. Let me know in the comments if there are any houseplant mistakes that you've made, or maybe that you make on a regular basis and you're trying to stop. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.